You were assigned to Grand Royal, the Beastie Boys label. So how did that come together?
That came together because they actually wanted to sign AC.
But AC was on Capitol.
They had his demo, and then they went on the Lollapalooza tour. I know we had already done the Project Blowed single. I don't know if we had the whole tape out yet. It's somewhere kind of like in between there. They want to sign him, and we're hyped to sign him. They go on tour. While they're on tour, Kim Bowie, who had been his A&R, who had been Fellowship's A&R, and Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy when they were all on Island together, she moved over and had signing power at Capitol. So then first she signed Micah and Michael Franti for Spearhead, her two favorite probably from those two collectives. But then she signed AC. And I remember when we were in the studio working on AC's record, I was shining on it, right? He was letting me rhyme on it. I ended up appearing like 5 or 6 times on that motherfucker, which is crazy. I'm 18 years old, and I appear on that record like 5 times.
Damn, AC Flavy kinda hitting, I ain't bullshitting. Written to the Fellowship and freestyle. Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice, abstract busters. This track ain't for suckers.
Immediately exceeding the reality of normality by radically and automatically starting off rapidly. Rap with me, come on, perk little work.
But she pulled me to the side and was like, Mike D from the Beastie Boys, Grand Royal. Because AC had told us he was going to sign to Grand Royal. We were like Motown, RCA. I remember me and Fat Jack, we kind of laughed at him like, Grand Royal, what the hell is that? Like, you gonna sign that? And he was like, it's just a label. They just as good as any other label. And then ironically, she comes to me saying they want to sign him. And they're mad now that, like, of course, I signed him direct because he was my act. And I was like, well, that's dope of you to have signed Micah, and AC. And she's like, yep. And she's like, if Jupe wasn't in jail, I'd sign him. And she's like, and I want to sign Peace, but like he had a manager at the time that she couldn't work with. And I remember thinking, oh, that's kind of fucked up. I remember we ended up telling my nigga, like, you got to get rid of this manager. It's fucking you up. But that's a whole nother story. But so she was like, they want a solo act with a good voice. I'm thinking it could be you. Now, don't call me. Don't. She gave me the classic, don't call us, we'll call you. I remember thinking this industry is fake as fuck.
Yeah, that sounds like some real
But
bullshit.
she's like, don't call me on it. So this is like October. I mean, niggas is broke, right? By then, I'm checked into Santa Monica College, getting tickets on my car because I didn't get the student parking lot. And where I park at the meters is way far from where all my classes are, and it's only for an hour, and there's no way I can keep changing it. I'm on the way to get my car repoed, writing the song, rolling in my car because of the fallout of all this. We trying to get signed to get some money. That's why you hear me on Strength of ATU say 1994, the year it seems we all get paid. We all get paid, I'm sure. Why the hell it takes so long? Because nigga, 93 to 94 felt like forever when you were in the hood broke. And you dodging bullets and the police thin blue line. You talking about a lot of pressure and a lot of and moms is like, what you doing with your life and all that was stacking up. So she's like, maybe it could be you. And I'm like, whatever. Me and my manager already had other deals we was trying to get. So I'm just like, all right, whatever. I'm just on my grind. And then Carmelo, a dude literally worked in the stock room, dealt with the merch of the boxes of their shit, comes to the Good Life. And the homies from the hood was telling us they was going to invest in our tape. They was going to give us 50 racks of like real Master P type bread.
Yeah.
And I was all excited telling CVE and everybody about that. Like, it's finna be on. We gonna get the vinyl. We gonna do it ourselves. Like, you know what I mean? He ear hustles that. And I'm somewhere smoking weed, and he's like, yo, what was that distribution shit you were talking about? What was that? But, and I was like, what? Like you heard? I'm like, damn, they said it'd be spies around here. I'm like, I'm tripping like, well, how you even heard me? You were in my conversation like that? I'm kind of offended. And I mean, he's actually, I think he ended up being native, but I mean, he just looked white to me. Like, he was not black, he was white back then. And basically at the Good Life, especially. So then he's like, no, I'm from Grand Royal. So I'm like, oh, it clicked. I thought about what Kim Bowie said. Instantly pull him in my car, play him all my demos. He's like, this shit is tight. But he's like, but the sound quality. I'm like, well, I know. We just recorded at the house and shit. And he's like, can your guy who made the beats come into a big studio and land? I'm like, hell yeah.
Fat Jack?
Yeah, I called Fat Jack right there on the spot. And cell phones was expensive, but I was like, fuck it. Like, nigga, can we, they gonna let us come into the studio, into the Beastie Boys studio. He's like, get out of here. Hell, be there tomorrow. And so what happened was Carmelo went and called Mike D while he's overseas on that tour. And he's like, yo, yeah, you know you lost out on AC, but you can get the other one. And it turns out that Carmelo took the tape from B+, our single, and then gave the single to Mike D when Carmelo was playing golf with him. And so because B+ was always wanted his credit for being like the one that actually gave the tape. So see, you have the photographer from The Good Life. This is how you're gonna get a deal. You got the photographer from The Good Life's gonna have something to do with it. Some motherfucker from the stock room at the label is gonna have the balls to come to The Good Life, ear hustle your conversation. You're gonna have the gratuitousness to get him right in the car, play him your shit, call your boy. Your boy's gonna have to have the skills.
Right.
Otherwise, we gonna be looking stupid. And we went into that studio in Atwater Village where they were at, and went into where they had all the sprawling Beastie Boys equipment, and all their instruments and everything, all their Scooby-Doo, all everything from their era. You saw all the merch that they pioneered that became all the hipster gear. Even the wear, the wear of the shirt. They had all that shit first. They had it all. They had their shit already. I feel it's called extra large. They had the spot where Fat Beats it became Fat Beats on Sunset in Vermont. That was extra large at first. I remember they sent me through there. I just could pick out whatever I wanted. They got me some custom Adidas. It was like shit was just like coming quick. All I had to do was walk into that building, right? And they had this dope engineer, Brian Foxworthy, peace be upon him, he passed away. But he got in there and made our tight-ass demo. We had Slow Lights, Yesterday and Today. Basically the stuff that became Underground Fossils. So on the last day, he called Mike D and was like, you can get him. They just need to get into the studio. So Mike D's like, all right, do it. We got there the next day, and the label manager, this white lady, Natalie Carlson, was like, kind of like me and you would say on stage. She was like, nah, you ain't coming up in here. I don't know who told you what. I run this shit, right? So I got my first lesson, and you could think you could hop over people, but you can't, right? But then what happened was she's like, hold on. She went around the corner and must have called Mike. Whatever he told her, he must have been like, yes, I want that. What the fuck are you doing? Go back in there and be nice to them. That's my act. I'm trying to sign them. Man, she came back. It was night and day. She came back like, okay, can I get you guys in? And we were like, wow. And I didn't really get it. And Fat Jack was like, he reamed her. He must have told her. He's like, you gonna get signed, nigga. You gonna get signed. But I still didn't let myself get my hopes up.
I mean, because that's kind of a trip, right? Like, if you're not even signed yet, but they want you to come in and, like, redo all of this stuff, like, that's kind of putting you in a little bit of a weird position, too. Because what if you do all that and they don't like it? Then what?
Well, this is what happened once I bought. We had a manager that we met through AWOL 1. Enter AWOL's importance. AWOL, he did the ASCAP showcase and met Top, who had managed King T. He managed Broadway, helped Rifkin get the deal for Loud, was currently managing Exhibit. And we brought him in for management. And he told me quickly, like, oh, they got the demo deal. They just didn't give you 10,000. Because they even drew up a demo deal. And I was supposed to get 10,000 for that.
Oh, okay.
So that's where going in.
So it shouldn't have been a risk.
I shouldn't have went in there like that.
Okay.
But I'm so gung ho.
For sure.
I'm like, whatever I could do and then Mike D's like, yeah, let me come in there, right? Right? And so we go in there and then they see after the first 2 songs, they like, yep, we signing them. But when my manager came in, he's like, well, y'all got to draw up the demo deal. And they were like, well, we're obviously going to sign them.
So they want to skip that part.
And I told them, just don't rock the boat.
Right.
I don't want the deal to go away.
I feel you.
And it took maybe like, so it got into the lawyer sense. And I remember I found out from my lawyer, because me and AC had the same lawyer, that he had signed his deal a little bit before that. And then so he was black. I felt comfortable using him, so I used the same lawyer. But the negotiations took a minute, nigga. Like thinking you got a deal in November,
Right.
but like
That shit takes
the memo
months.
ain't ready until February.
Right.
So I signed like February 3rd, 1995 for $140,000. It was called a recording fund, right?
You had to pay for all of the music to get made out of that?
Yes. And then they turned around. They also signed this girl, a female poet named 99, who was around at the time.
Check out the way I put the rhyme down when I'm walking by the baseline. Welcome to my talk show. Today's topic, don't sleep on the East. Brothers never cease to amaze. It's not a phase, but tradition, my admission to the rap show. To capture the rhyme, even on the incline. It's just mind over matter. Turning idle chit chat into the...
She was helping us. She actually had helped AC push the Project Blowed in New York. She's from the Boom Poetics, which out of them came Brown, Dizazz, High Priest, Beans in them.
Okay.
Bean, Anti-Pop
Anti-Pop,
Consortium.
Gun fetish, suicide, inverse in vitro. I make the beat go around like parallelogram shape algorithm. It's the ever changing, never the same thing changing, aiming intricate arterial wall, armor piercing arrows through your spinal, black rhino through your Kevlar, Death Star.
All right, they all used to do this thing called the Boom Poetics before Lyricist Lounge. Matter of fact, the Lyricist Lounge was the little shorties of that. As Talib and them will tell you, as Super Nat and them will tell you, it was High Priest, Dizazz, Beans, 99, and Gingy Brown, even, he was out here at the time, holding 9 down, helping her out. That's why he's on OG Crew. Yo, fuck a paper caper Brown, free like the skyline. I rhyme in time with my own watch, pocket watches dangle on the OG freestyle jazz gangster angle. The geometry be free.
Yo, fuck a paper caper Brown, free like a skyline. I rhyme in time with my own watch, pocket watches dangle on the OG freestyle jazz gangster angle. The geometry be free. My science holds my alliance down. What's your name? Brown.
And he freed that straight off the
shit,
top.
okay.
Yeah, that was all free. He didn't write nothing down. He went in there and killed niggas. So they signed her for $100,000, bumped her head. Should have signed her for the same amount. But then then about 3 months later, we got the long form where they signed us to Capitol, which then explained they were like late with our whole advance. And in between, we didn't get all of our bread till like April. And that might seem, damn, y'all some impatient ass mother, but you the contract say I'm supposed to get it right
And
now.
you count that money already.
And like I'm paying management and
Right.
lawyers in group, with the first part. I'm thinking mine coming right after that. I remember we went too and tried to get another deal in between that time. And MJJ, Michael Jackson's label, wanted to sign us. And we went in there on Friday. They was like, come in on Wednesday and we'll start doing these contracts. And like on Tuesday, Grand Royal called us like, okay, we got y'all checks. Come on. Vajak had a bun. His wife had the second one in the oven. It was like, are we going to risk pissing the Beastie Boys off? Even though Michael Jackson... Because we were supposed to sign to him before that. The homie G Money from The Good Life, I almost got signed. He came and got me with this white man named Jono Cohan, who was at Sony, and they wanted to sign us. Then the rape allegation happened with that thing, and he went underground, Zero Dark 30, and it was like we was just sitting there in limbo. That's why by the time Grand Royal came around, I was like, man, let's just do it. Like,
Right.
I'm desperate. Like, let's just do this one. Let's just do one. But they finally got it together. And we went in there and was just like, fuck it. Like, let's roll with it. And I was signed, but we saw that they signed us for $175,000 a piece to Capitol. So they made $35,000 off my deal and $75 off 99, which then explained we'd go in the label and Wall started getting knocked down. They got the building next door, and it was even like the workers would be like, hey, y'all, this new money came in. Like, you know what I mean? This is part of y'all. This is part of y'all. Like, I remember thinking, even my manager was like, I knew it was too little. I knew I should have like banged on her for more. But you was all scared and shit. But that's how it go. Like I'm and then when so we hit the ground running. First thing we made them pay for was 2 more ADATs because we had acquired DJs. He stopped making music, so he gave us his ADAT. So we only need, because you needed 24 tracks. Then we bought like 30,000. They bought us like 30,000 worth of equipment that we put literally right around the corner in Fat Jack's house. Carpet, furniture, everything. We had it pimped out over there. So now we don't have to go to Hollywood Sound or Kitchen Sink to work on our album. We coming right out. We waking up in our drawers working on it, blazing like, you know what I mean, like nothing. So by August, we had basically what was the Move Pieces album. We had like the first 6 to 8 songs that you hear on that record. Like Inside Your Eyes, Rapture, Torn, you know what I mean? Rolling in My Car. We had Blast Off. We had all that shit.
Zulu. And the Ebony Prince. Blast off into infinity. I say dig it and you dug it. Flip so rearrange or change on my rhythm and you love it. Who's illiterate to this? I don't know. Well, that, I don't care.
We weren't fucking around. I was signed February 3rd, 1995. I had the first 6 to 8 songs by April. It only took us one trip to Coast Recordings and Nadine's on Santa Monica and Vine to get all of our equipment that we got. And we got the ADATs on the black market. You know, some nigga was selling 2 for like $3,700, you know what I mean? But we had our AKG 414 mic, you know what I mean? Outboard gear. Fat Jack got him an Insonic TS12, you know what I mean? So we over there, we bang it out. They almost like, damn, y'all working too fast. So that was what we took to MJJ. By August, like we ready to go. We writing the treatment. Spike Jones is writing my video treatment. The Beastie Boys were supposed to be in it. They had just came off the Sabotage, and we were going to add comedy and do all kind of funny, weird shit in it. Yeah. Because the song was like, "Ooh, I'ma get you," so it was gonna be some sort of, you know, thing like that.
I'ma get you. Ooh, I'ma get you. I'ma get you. Don't be tripping. All you gotta do is open up your eyes and listen. A to you is gonna, fast in is gonna, Abbey Road is gonna. Ooh, I'ma get you. Ooh, I'ma get you. I'ma get you. Don't be tripping. I'ma disease some seeds. I got a bed stricken. I'm about to knock on your door and watch me operate.
And man, we're getting ready. And then come to find out, like those holidays came that year of 95, and we're kind of like they're sending us places. We go, we did the thing, some magazine thing up in the Bay that ended up being legendary, where everybody Gift Gab and Quantum and, you know, Saphira, all these people, Mr. Journeyman, that would go on to build the underground, were all there at this show. Keith Cool and Redmatic, everybody, AC, everyone who was signed at that time. All the radio runs with the Bay Area Coalition, Benny B and Kev and all them out there, right? So it was going down. I do in stores at extra large, but we noticed there wasn't no movement. We like, well, when is the video shoot? In January, turns out that Capitol came in and they had analyzed, you know, when they come in and the motherfucker get put in the basement with the red stapler when they find out that, you know what I mean, we've been losing money and we may not need you no more. I forgot what his Milton, whatever his name was.
Office Space.
Anyway, sounds great, Bob.
I'm going to have to ask you to go ahead and move your desk again. So if you could go ahead and get it as far back against that wall as possible, that would be great.
No, I could set the building on fire.
They brought those people in to assess what they had been doing with urban music for like the past however long it was. And it was determined that they were down tens of millions of dollars on it. No profit whatsoever. So they went, we're shutting all those departments down until we retool and figure it out.
And was Grand Royal part of what was getting shut down?
Yes, because Grand Royal existed on its own, but their distributor was Capitol.
Got you.
So Mike went to Gary Gershwin, the president, and said, because my record had been what's called commercially accepted by Capitol, which means we think we can make money with this. There's nothing you need to redo. So he's like, what do you want me to do with this Mood Pieces record? And he told us that he said, oh, I like that album. Just go ahead and put it out and we'll reimburse you. But he had spent all kind of money trying to sell Hurricane, their first act that they had signed. And they had other acts, Luscious Jackson, Ben Lee. Some of them people went on, I think, to become pretty big. But they were just getting off the ground. They hadn't figured it all out. Look, Grand Royal eventually went bankrupt. So for all that money, it don't mean, you know, you're going to be successful at running a label, right? Let's be fair. Like, white boys don't hustle like that. They use other people's money. They ain't gonna throw their money unless I think I would have been really endeared to him like that. And the way the relationship was with management was more contentious. It was more kind of like we were always on them, like, where's our bread? And
Right.
what's this? What the fuck are you even doing at this?
Yeah,
at
just
this
on
desk?
their head all the
We
time.
was on
yeah.
their head like a pit bull. I would have called Top style like a mini Suge, like Damon Dash when he's getting his hair cut in the Hard Knock Life.
Yeah.
That's how Top was.
Okay.
But to his credit, he looked out for his artists. He got the most for him, and he taught us the business. His partner was like Adrian Miller. They ran together. But what Top was different was Adrian, who we know as A-Love now, the dude behind Anderson .Paak and a lot of things.
Gotcha.
That was he helped. He gave B Hall money and early on to start the Good Life. Google that dude one day. You'll find him in the newspaper back in the 90s, like up in the big industry circles.
I see.
Okay. He was at Immortal. He had something to do with Cypress, Son Dubious, with Volume 10, with all that. He's been a key figure out here for a long time. But he always would be more take the corporate jobs, and where him and Top differed. Top was always in the private sector. He always wanted to be like Damon Dash. He wanted to be more like that. So Mike told me when I was even like, well, can't y'all just put it out and just y'all being the Beastie Boys, we should be able to. And he's like, okay, look, fine. You want me to put it out? He's like, you don't get it. Ever since this Chronic album came out, they think that you have to sell 150,000. The urban music is supposed to sell 150,000 in the first week, or else it's not viable. And I knew when NWA did all that with the Niggas for Life album with no radio play, that meant something. We found out what it meant once Chronic did what it did. We found out what it really meant. It meant that now every rapper would be tasked and feet held to the fire to sell that amount. Which, okay, maybe some people did. Maybe Fugees did. Maybe Diggable did or whatever, right? Maybe Arrested Development did. And even Adrian Miller said this to me. He's like, you like got up to bat and then they like called the game for Rainbow. He's like, you're the one that really didn't get that real swing at it, which he always felt bad about because he saw it all lined up. And Mike was like, okay, you want me to put it out? I'll put it out. It's not going to sell 150,000 units in the first week, and Gary is going to drop you. So then you'll have that on your record. I'm like, he's like, versus I just let you go. You guys have all your equipment. You don't owe me, as far as I'm concerned, y'all don't owe Grand Royal nothing.
And he was gonna give you all the music.
Yeah,
too?
he's like, Capital, if you put it out major, will want a few points, I'm sure, because that was the terms of my release papers. But if you put it out indie, they ain't gonna even give a shit. That's part of what propelled me. Now, mind you, Top tried to go. They were like, go to, I think it was MCA, who had picked up Channel Live. Because it wasn't just us. It was Delicious Vinyl, who was through Capital.
Okay.
Yeah, and some other things too. So it was like, yeah, Channel Live, Cool Keith, AC, all that got dropped. A lot of people. But people were finding other little tunnels. But Top, I remember he came back one day and he was like, damn. He sighed and he was like, I've been fucking everywhere around this town trying to get your ass a deal. And that made me feel like, oh, word? Like, man, we was just in unsigned hype.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We were just on in rap pages and the homie that had a spread and next producer and like the homies was on the cover. It was a gut punch to deal with, but I had never gotten that high, right? From where we were selling our own tapes. So it was pretty easy for me. I pivoted with Underground Fossils. I came home one day and Fat Jack had made that. He's like, I made you a mixtape. He's like, yeah, it's gonna be 10 minutes aside. Just like we had did the Blow single, because it was 10 minutes aside on that. But he's like, but I filled it up this time. So it ain't like a bunch of empty space. And I was like, all right. But I rolled with that and went right back to Crossroads. But I think I was more like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I think I like went to my uncle and he helped me. He was good with computers and he helped me make a cover. Found like the oldest fish fossil that I ever found and just, made some little makeshift cover. And I had them black and white though. And around this time, me and AC are both looking, we're just kind of, going to the Blow, piecing up on nickel sacks for blunts. And I think maybe we gonna get another deal. Micah definitely thought he was gonna get another deal. And AC meets Adrian Burley and Jerry from Ocean Floor up in the Bay. He meets like this little startup indie, in other words, out of San Francisco. One of the guys had been the drummer for Third Eye Blind at one point. So that was Adrian. He was a drummer. That was his like claim to fame. And he would play with them every now and then. He brought us up for a show. We went up and did me, Kilu, AC, and Tribe Unique. We did this classic show. Then AC and them started working together to record his All Balls Don't Bounce record. And through that union and us going back up there, I would have my tape and they saw it and were like, why don't you, like master it and, make it in color and put it out better. They're like, it's dope. We like what you're doing. And so then thus began really my indie career because they took me to get it mastered, at the same spot where like Hyro and Digital Underground, all these people got their shit mastered at the Rocket Lab with Kenneth Lee, who's like a famous master engineer from up there. Then they linked us with Matt Kelly, who mixed all of their stuff. So very quickly, they gave us like this NorCal extension we hadn't had before. We had just started getting cool with Orko and TDS, Tony Schizo and Brady and them. We had just gotten cool with Master Universe and all them dudes, and we're putting that SoCal bridge together. Enter the NorCal bridge, which then very quickly doing shit up there, we meet Mystic Journeyman, who then the Legends. We already had known Merce in them. So it just is like, then we got closer with Hyro, where there had maybe been a little tension with them in Fellowship. Like that shit got smoothed out. Next thing you know, like Farside, they lost their deal. And next thing you know, it's like all of us basically are creating the beginnings of what became this indie rap viable scene that we have now that, big up people like Macklemore, Tech Nine, Atmosphere. I'm sure all three of them will tell you and will look to, all those people who I named and give them credit, for what they're doing now, or at least showing them a blueprint and a path.
That is possible. Yeah.
That is possible. It's like the gall to think that we could stand out there, the gall to think you could put out Human May Concern, right? The gall to think that yes, you didn't have all the money to be in all these studios, but you would still want to make a record. And then the gall to think people from all over Africa, Asia, everywhere would be contacting you about it. That's the unique thing about the Project Blow tape I didn't mention. We put that tape out and AC's sister let us use her P.O. box on the back of it. And maybe a year went by and he'd see her at family function. She's like, boy, you need to come get this mail. And he's like thinking it's a few pieces. Yeah, I'll come get it. Finally, that next revolution came around and she was like, no, come get this mail. Or she brought it to him. And it was, I shit you not, I'm not exaggerating. You could ask Fat Jack, Zulu, AC, everybody. It was 7 hefty bags full of mail, my nigga. 7 hefty bags. Trash bags like this that you hold like this with hefty things around them that you put grass in. That's how much mail we got. We couldn't believe it. I'm like, who is it? Right? And I think Fat Jack moved from around the corner. We moved from around the corner in, I think it was 97, 96. So I proceeded from the time we had that, because it started coming, let's say we got it about 95-ish or something like that, late 94 we got it. I spent the next 2 years reading that mail. Like when we would be there at the studio, freestyling, smoking, that was like my pastime.
Just open another hefty bag.
Open up, and look, and I wrote back hella of them. Like anyone that seemed like it wanted to be written back. People sent us money orders. I felt bad. It was like, I think we had ran out of tapes, or you know what I mean? I was like, how do I even send this out? Like, it was crazy. We didn't even ask for a money order. In other words, we didn't have a mail order thing on there, right? Dudes from in jail in like Milwaukee. Like, how did they get it in jail? You know what I'm saying? Like people from Brazil, Germany, Africa, to a P.O. box on a tape that you had to get hand to hand. This ain't on the internet. And we only pressed up 300. Like, we pressed up 600 that we kept 3 and the other people got 3. I think we did another batch of 600. There's like, 1,200 max of those original tapes in the world. But we had more pieces of mail than tapes even existed, is what I'm trying to tell you. I could see people dubbing the tape, but how could they get the P.O. box?
You actually have to see the label to get the address to send something.
And I shit you not, what built the underground, what built this independent hip hop scene that we all eat off of was, of course, the Tuma May Concern. But see, they got their record deal after that. So we had to come back to the streets once we had Project Blow, right? And what built it is me answering those letters and those people writing those letters. And her AC sister giving us that P.O. box and him collecting that mail and bringing it to me. Because he read some of it, but he tapped out after a right. But I'm fresh out of high school. I'm our young... that's what you do. See, we do that good at Blow. It's like you ride, you know what I mean, the energy while it's there. And I definitely will say that, like, I was able to bring that for us. And you could just look at all the thank yous on the back of every one of my tapes or CDs. I shit you not. Look at the thank yous and the mentions. Those are all the people that we then connected with. I remember we'd go places and I would have like 6 to 7 or 8 people. They all came from that mail. And the promoters and AC would be like, how do you know all these people? I went to Chicago. I already knew Duro. I knew JR at Gramophone, Duro at Beat Parlor. I knew people out there because of that, right? And they'd be like, how you know all these people? I'm like, oh, because they mailed us, and I just stayed in contact with them. When we had Ocean Floor, it's like, white boy got some money, and he bought the Pimp Me Bows, and he has all the mailers for the records and the CD. Oh, I'm up there. I'm using that shit. I remember I sent a care package to Bahamadia. I sent, you know what I mean? I just like sending shit I'd forget. It got to the point where it was so routine. But when I look back, that was building the underground. I'm not like crediting myself. I'm saying all those people too that reached out to us and that then interacted back with me. And we left tea leaves. We left breadcrumbs. We left them. Just look at every person I thanked, my experience 12-inch, the Underground Fossils tape, the Mood Pieces, the South Central Think Tank, Pain Showtime, anywhere they're staying, especially early on. You got to a point where you're like, all right, I'm just going to thank mama and my baby and God, and that's it. The thank to all the Blowed, right? But no, back then, you wanted to be very specific because, see, we didn't have the internet, so we were talking to each other. This was tagging. This was mentioning and reposting in your story or whatever, giving people a little bit of a feeling like they had a part of it too, because I valued that. I remember AC to this day, he gets mad at me for being so accessible. AC likes to come into a venue and be in the back until he comes out. And
sunglasses
then,
on.
Yeah, and then stab out if he can. Elvis has entered and left the building. And I feel that too. That's a part of the music business,
part
right?
Of the mystique,
I guess I never, got that high with the record deal where the people were always what I valued and saw was going to be my way to usurp whatever bullshit the don't call us, we'll call you industry had for me out here.
Man, as we close, I want to fast forward to now, because you started a label called Keep the Feel. What is the feel?
The feel is that thing that makes you nod your head or makes you think that lyric is witty, that makes you think that person cares and, put together something that intrigued them or made them laugh first. And then, like, they had the guts to, like, share that with us and dare us to get it. The feel is, in a music sense, a lot of it relies on the drums. Fat Jack will tell you, right? The drums. Producers like Fat Jack, Slip, Vitamin D, Jake One, Joseph, they'll listen to your track in 4 seconds and tell you if it sucks based off the drums, based off the snare you used. Right? So there's a feel with that and the feel, it also is within your circle. Every circle has its own feel of things that it feels. And so in ours, it's hip hop soul. It's hip hop soul. So when we say keep the feel, we mean keep that hip hop soul feel, pushing yourselves to. Fat Jack and Slip would never just sample something and you go listen to that record and you can tell exactly what it is that they sampled. They would always sub it out or, put it on the pads and
Chop it up,
trick it
yeah.
out, chop it out. Kind of shit that Dilla would do and became famous for too. They were on that way before he got famous for it, but no disrespect, and peace be upon him. But when they heard him, they were like, oh, he gets it too, sort of thing. And the same thing, Premier and Large Professor and all the greats and DJ Quick and people like that know, right? To value the drums, value actually putting work into the music. And when we're talking about sampling with hip hop, we're talking about making it yours. Bad artists copy, good artists steal. Saw it on a t-shirt once. But I think it's true. I think that's the people who the fellowship respected that came out of the Good Life and Blowed stole their styles and made them theirs and then gave something back to it. I could say that about you. I could say that about Bus Driver. I could say that about All City Jimmy. I could say that about Satire. I could say that about 2Mix. I could say that about Medusa. I could say that about so many that we respect because they keep that feel of like pushing themselves to style and then trying to make it theirs. Being you, being who you are. And we say keep the feel. You're not reaching. It's not reach the feel. It's not reach for the feel. I can tell when you're reaching. I can hear it. I can hear it because I'm a fucking master scientist of auditory everything. I could tell what style feels comfortable. I could see you on stage and tell if you really feel comfortable in your own skin, all that. When you have a feel that fits you and suits you, it fits your sensibilities, your morals, everything you want to put into the game, and your fans, you then have a fan base that believes in it, you want to keep that. And I don't mean do the same thing, because you do want to push your fans to accept newer things from you. But there's something to be said about giving them that thing they always felt they was going to get from you. It's fair to say Chuck D has kept the Public Enemy feel, isn't it? It's fair to say KRS-One has kept the knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone, the teacher feel. You could try to pick at people of something, this or that they don't like, but when, you know what I'm saying? You see Fugees, you see that feel they trying to keep, right? Even Wu-Tang, when you see Wu, it's like, they keeping it Shaolin. It's got that Shaolin. It's gonna sound like somebody got a razor blade spitting feel to it. See, you don't have to keep it my feel. And ultimately with my label, I want to have all different types of artists because I feel all different types of shit. And I know how fans, like to accept their different things. And I'm right there with them. So I won't judge something that's not in the same feel of our sensibilities and rules in Silent Murk Park, Good Life, Project Blowed. I won't judge that, something that's outside of that the same way. I can listen to something that's a little more, for lack of a better term, dumbed down or less dynamic and hear what those fans can appreciate about it. Be like, oh, that dude's got a dope voice. And like, he knows how to keep his feel in his pocket and do what he does that people like from him. And I respect that. I actually like it way better when people don't sound like, you know what I mean? Like anything that I like or whatever. I could, and they're still popular. Cause it's like, yeah, I hear what their fans hear. I hear the message. I know exactly what they're hanging off of, and I know why they love it, and I'm not mad at them for it. You know what I mean? I could even like rock with it with that same mind state. So ultimately, I want Keep the Field to be a place where over 30-year-old artists, it probably will be the only place they can land if I make it really viable, because I don't, the industry tends to think You're done after 25, definitely after 30. But I'm talking 35 with kids, having a balance, and you can't just go mash and do the tours where you're gone that long. I'm working with people. I'm meeting people where they're at. And the last thing I want is something for you that you don't want for yourself. I used to be more like that when I was first starting out, and it's just frustration, and you'll fall out with people. And I tell my artists all the time, I can't want something for you more than you want it for yourself. But if you want this shit, if you want to be great, I can help you get there. I can help you do everything we didn't do. And if you're younger than me, I'll especially be a good help to you to save some years that it cost us.
So I had a couple more things I just want to touch on real quick. You released a project called LA Basin.
The sunlight cast over the LA basin, igniting the day. The beauty and dismay of the city juxtaposed in a blanket of fog that unyields its dreamers their slice of the horizon. A tinsel-lit town whose mountainous skyline, ponderous deserts and sandy coasts give its dreamers no bounds. The night cometh, but the days seem long in the summertime.
Feels classic, but also feels modern at the same time. Was that the goal for that?
I think that's how my style is. That's the whole thing I mean by abstract rude. It's like artsy, always gonna be artsy and abstract in its approach, even if that's subtle, right? Because I have abstract arrangement in different subtleties. Sometimes I can bring that within simplicity. But then rude, like, don't get shit twisted. I'm from South Central. You know what I mean? And it's still street. It has a street undertone to a lot of what I do. And so as the years go on, I do pride myself. Some people can't listen to their album from 96, but I can. I can still listen to Fossils, and I'm listening to Fossils, appreciating it and loving what I did on that, and listening to what I did, now on LA Basin, which, by the way, is distributed by Alpha Pup. And I've put out about 40 records on the imprint thus far. And this LA Basin EP produced by my dude Calisthetics, who's right here next to me. He's from Orange County, a crew called Glass Bottom Boat. So I was feeling his production. And, it's a credit to him for just the sound that he brought to it, brought that out of me. Also, he had some particulars and sort of like nostalgia that he wanted me to invoke. He's like, I love how you use your voice on Coolin' and da-da-da. And I hear this as kind of like this summer, spring kind of a jam. And I'm like, you know what? I feel that too. And just interpreting that, this came out. And I like to think that everything I make is timeless. Like, if you wanted to ask me what one quality about myself as an artist or writer I think is my strongest one, outside of my God-given voice that he gave me, I would say, my ability to create timeless material, for it to not sound that dated, especially if the producer, if the people in charge of the music are dope and doing their job like he did on this EP, we'll create something timeless, and we'll bridge gaps. We'll give them something that feels like yesterday and today.
Speaking of time, just these last three questions, I'm gonna give them to you like quick hits. They're gonna be questions that probably require longer answers.
But I'll do them quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the future of Project Blowed?
The future of Project Blowed is some MCs we haven't even met yet that we don't know, because we'll keep bringing new people in. But hopefully, and I'm going to put this out there, just more unity, more projects together, like Voltroning as our strongest thing, which is obviously the Freestyle Fellowship experience, which when we did a tour in 2014, it was Fellowship, Haiku, A-Team, AM Radio, all of it, MC Aces, like all of that together.
All the different configurations.
So I'm hoping that there will be more synergy with that, and we'll connect more with the other West Coast indie powerhouse crews too.
Speaking of which, what's the future of the LA Underground?
Future of the LA Underground is in very good hands, I think, because Ben Caldwell has his legacy cemented with his daughters, who have every intention to keep us going and keep us having a base in Leimert Park. And I see so many young faces, just like at our Hip Hop Halloween event that we did, and people are always willing to step up. Verbs. Verbs is the future, right? Bananas.
Gee golly, I started getting organized and realized for real that this is more than rhymes. Instead of liking, I started loving myself more. I'm drinking water and worrying about my health more. I did a lot of growing, a nigga is kinda wise. Starving artist, craft like man personified. I'm an African and not an African, and I know it's bad for land, but I got a master plan.
And everything that's gonna come after that. Everybody that's already interacting with that and building themselves up as a figurehead inside of that who I don't know, right? But I will meet, and Verbs will introduce me to it eventually and say, yeah, he's hella cool.
You'll meet him in San Francisco when he's trying to jump on stage.
a lot more songs, albums. This isn't gonna stop. This toothpaste will not go back in the tube.
That's real.
I said I storied the other day. I think there's more songs. There's as many songs as stars, infinite stars, as there is in the sky now. So there must be just a blanket of music covering the entire earth.
And lastly, what's the future of Abstract Rude?
The future of Abstract Rude is bright. It's never going to be dim as long as I have the light within me. Right off, I have a full length that Kenny Siegel produced.
Shout out to Kenny.
So after being roommates for 6 years, we finally did a whole full length together. So that will come sometime next year. And a couple of other projects that I'm working on with some cats as far as 2023. And I'm not stopping anytime soon. The only way you'll see me stop is if one of these artists that I'm putting out hopefully gets more successful than me, and then I can just kick back like Sadiq and Bird and just run their career. You know what I mean?
Shout out to Sadiq and Bird.
And run it efficient and tight, like how they run Atmospheres or Rhymesayers. Like I have that in me. I'm almost 47. So I mean, I tell them all the time, like, I ain't gonna be out there on stage forever. I ain't gonna be out there on stage on a walker. I mean, I see people like Sting. Look, Prince, you don't really retire at this. James Brown, like people go to the end. I mean, Tina retired, but like, yeah, people do this. Black men find themselves doing this to death most times, right? So in some capacity, God gave me this voice. I'm gonna always use it. People I imagine will want to hear me unless I lose my ability to sound nice. But I would like to be more of someone that's like how they are now. If someone can show that potential, that they can do that. And I harken back to a time where you guys were even like, you should do a team. Like y'all wanted me to do it back when I wasn't ready to do it and would have had no idea how to even do it and would have felt like I'm doing you a disservice. And I remember replying, which I think it worked out well as I sit here with you. I remember replying to you guys, I could help you more by just answering any question you have, being an open book, rapping on anything you want me to rap on, and being your big homie, bringing you on shows, just anything you need, just ask me. I'll show you in whatever I'm doing. I'll show you how to do it the exact same way. If it's labels I'm fucking with that might want to sign you, that, you know what I mean? If we do some shit, and like, look, Bus Driver ended up a Ninja Tune. That felt really, I was like, I didn't think I had nothing to do with it. But for me, I was proud that, like, I know I was the first one to fuck with them. And so to see him do that, it was like, he's smart. He knows, well, if they wanted to work with Ab, maybe they might want to work with me. And just seeing everybody find their own avenues and hit the ground running in their own way versus me having any responsibility to, God forbid, have fucked it up. I feel like we're in a much better place than could have been a lot of bones of contention had I took on something that I wasn't ready for. I even think AC Badru and Jay Smooth, to their credit, over the years have gotten some unfair perception based off them trying to figure it out as they went along, and for actually having the courage and strength to step up and be figurehead leaders for us. Because believe me, I found out from just doing, 6 years of the Blowed anniversary, that tour where you saw me. Imagine 20 years, which is literally what they did. They put together a good 20 years of trying to run Project Blow recordings, and it's not easy. So we should rally around our leaders and figureheads and continue to help them and become as knowledgeable as we can, so that we're not just sitting there expecting handouts and somebody to do something for us. Just like I told you guys back then, we didn't have MySpace, we didn't have YouTube. Y'all was starting to get that. Now, what would you tell an artist? Man, y'all got IG.
Yeah,
y'all
you got TikTok.
Spotify. You got Bandcamp. Are you kidding me? You have an inbox. We had 7 hefty bags. You see it all. It all comes full circle. You're gonna be telling the next artist, right? The same shit we told y'all. And that's why the future of Blow will go on and be good.
Well, we appreciate the guiding light you've always brought, that guidance. Like, you did do everything you said you were going to do, and you showed us how to do all of this. And we appreciate it because everybody in the family is dope. You know what I'm saying? But I think on top of that, you've been an amazing role model on how to like really be a human being doing this. And so just want to show infinite appreciation for that. And thanks for your time today.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for watching that. And if you dug that, leave a thumbs up and say what up in the comments. And make sure to subscribe to Stony Island Audio for more.